Hello friends, Namaskar, Pranam. Welcome to Dr.RAjeshverma's YouTube channel, and in this video we'll be talking about the mnemonics. In my old videos, similarly we'll be discussing the meaning, definition, various mnemonics devices, and finally we'll be discussing the application of mnemonics. So what are the mnemonics? Don't worry, we'll be discussing the whole slide, but just have a glance on the first slide itself. There's a statement written in the Roman Hindi. Pandit Badri Prasad Har Bole, the student who has studied the mathematics in the 10th class or the trigonometry, they might have come across the statement. The teachers of the mathematics might have given this statement just to remember the sine theta, cos theta, and tan theta. See, Pandit for the P, Badri B, Prasad P, Har H, Bole B. So this represent the sine theta is perpendicular by hypotenuse, cos theta is base by hypotenuse, and the tan theta is the perpendicular by base. So these were the techniques we used to remember the sine theta, cos theta, and the tan theta. So what was that? The statement was a kind of mnemonics. Now let us move and start. What's the meaning? Prior to the meaning, we'll be starting with the pronunciation of mnemonics, these words, because you see the transcription of this word N-I-M, that is A-N-I-K-S-T, mnemonics. So M is silent here. So I have written it Hindi too for the convenience of the students. So you must pronounce it properly. So that is mnemonics. So what does it mean? The literary meaning of mnemonics is the study and development of systems for improving and assisting the memory. So this is the 2 point here. These devices, these techniques, they improve and assist your memory system. So that was the literary meaning. As far as psychology is concerned, what does it mean? A technique. Psychologists study and consider mnemonics as a technique, or they consider it a device that aids in retention and recall of information. So that is the point here. Psychologists consider mnemonics as a device or a technique, and that helps in retaining the information and finally recalling that information. So that was the meaning in the psychological parlance. So in the previous slide, you might have seen that use knuckles for the memorizing the months of calendar and which month contains how much days. Say Jan, if you start with the upper knuckle, this indicates the 31 days. Jan, Feb, March, April, May, June, July. And again you start with August, September, October, November, and December. This way, my dear friends, you can remember the which month has how many days. So these are what's that? These are nothing but mnemonics because they helps you, they assist you in retaining the information and finally recalling it. Now let us move to the next. What is the definition? How we can define the mnemonics? It's a technique or device. I told you the psychologist always consider it as a technique or device such as a frame or an image that uses familiar associations to enhance the storage and recall of information. That is the point here, that these are the aids. You can call it a supporting system that helps in the retaining and recalling the memory. It can be in the form of rhymes or in the form of images or some familiar associations. And the only point and the purpose of this mnemonics is the enhance the system, improving our memory, that is storage and recalling the information. See, there is a calendar here, mnemonics calendar, 31 days here. So how to remember that? These are used that I told you, kind of visual mnemonics. Then comes a technique of associating mother information with non-external or internal devices. That is, what are the devices? Your cues, images, sound, etc. for retaining and, my dear friend, recalling the learned material. But here it is, you have to correctly recall the information. So mnemonics helps you in retaining as well as correctly recalling the information. That can be that external cues are to be associated with the mother information, so that when we need to recall the mother information, these cues comes as a handy and helps in recalling that information correctly. As I told you, Pandit Badri Prasad Har Bole. The day my mathematics teacher told me that this is the statement, if you can remember that statement helps you in remembering the memorizing the formulas concerning the sine theta, cos theta, and the tan theta. So still I remember that. So what is that? So I did not to worry about that how to what is the sine theta and what is the other trigonometric functions, because the basic thing can be remembered using the mnemonics, and that are the wonderful devices techniques that helps in your memory. Getting my point? Now let us go for the introductory part. See, this is a very one more mnemonics here. It's a very interesting mnemonics here. I found it on the internet. They said the four lobes of the brain. The people generally forget the one or two, the name of the lobes. So you can use this mnemonics. Fries throw his pants off. F for frontal lobe, T for temporal lobe, P represents your parietal lobe, and O represents your occipital lobe. There are four lobes, you can remember that. So these are wonderful mnemonics. And if you remember, if you just see this image also, you can keep this image in your brain, and this image too will represent that mnemonics. The fry tore his pants off, so you can remember the four lobes. It's a very wonderful and very funny thing. So mnemonics is a technique to make forgettable information memorable. That's I told you. So that information you are prone to forget can be converted into a memorable information. Certainly, it will improve your long-term memory capacity and duration, and helps in correctly recalling that. They ensure learning in such a way that they make recall easy. I told you earlier, these techniques are sometimes called the devices that help in storing and recalling the information, particularly the complex information that tends to confuse your system. So this helps in the recalling the complex information in the same sequence with greater accuracy. There's a very wonderful the properties of mnemonics is that they helps you in recalling the information correctly, as well as in the same sequence and with better accuracy. Mnemonics are systematic procedures which encode the information effectively, that helps in recalling and retrieving. That is retrieval. They in fact anchors the mother information with the interesting part or interesting device or the cues that you can easily remember that. So you can remember this sentence, right tore his pants off. So it's a funny thing, you can remember that because it. So why that individual, the great psychologist, that individual tore his pants off, that might provoke your emotional aspect. So in that you remember that information, but then you can anchor that information with the four lobes of the brain, that is frontal, temporal, parietal, and the occipital. These are the wonderful systems of the techniques. Now, what are the important types of mnemonics? Now, let us study. The mnemonics can be of different types. What are the sentence mnemonics? That helps in preventing the spelling errors. Sometimes we use the mnemonics to prevent the spelling errors. We use various times own device. Sometimes we borrow these mnemonics from others. Sometimes we create our own mnemonics because that helps in saving lots of cognitive efforts. Then comes the acronyms mnemonics that helps in remembering the information in a sequence. I'll let you know different types of. Suppose take an example of WIBGYOR, VIB, GYUR. What's that? These are the seven colors of the rainbow, and you can remember with the help of that WIBGYOR in the same sequence and the same order without forgetting them, and that can be kept in your memory for lifetime. So how these are known as the acronym mnemonics. Then comes the musical mnemonics that makes the learning better. Suppose when we anchor our learning with some the music which we love most, in that case that helps in remembering the academic material for longer period of time. Then comes the model mnemonics such as the graphs, charts, diagrams, and the cognitive map that is known as the mind maps. So these are known as the model mnemonics. Then comes the phrase mnemonics such as my very excellent mother just served us. What's that it means? These are if you remember, you pick up the first letter of this sentence, first letter of the each word of this sentence, that forms the. Yes, wonderful. It's nine planets: Mercury, Venus, Earth, and so on. So you know that. So to remember that for the younger student, this is a very interesting statement. My very excellent mother just served us. and these are known as the phrase mnemonics to remember the 9 planets. Then comes the image mnemonics. You anchor some image with some concept, and the moment you want to remember, retain, recall that information in the concept, you just recall that image. Image can be recalled very easily, and that particular academic material is anchored with that image. Certainly it will come to your the consciousness or your awareness, and you can recall that correctly. So dear friends, this is the what the types of major types of mnemonics. Now the characteristics of mnemonics. What the major characteristics were? Mnemonics are the memory assistants. See, they are very obliged. They oblige our memory. They are very faithful assistants. They never fails you, provided you have adequate rehearsal, as well as you have you understand the mnemonics. So they are very important, and they are very faithful assistants that helps you in recalling and retaining your information. Then the mnemonics circumvent the forgetting. If they assist the memory, certainly they prevent the forgetting. Means they anchor with the mother information and prevents the trace decay and helps in circumventing the concept of or process of forgetting. Then comes the they utilizes the cognitive space optimally. That is the important point here. What mnemonics do? Mnemonics, they helps in utilizing our cognitive space, cognitive processing optimally. They do not waste or they prevent the wastage of the that cognitive space. So very important characteristics of mnemonics. Then comes the they can be in the form of image, touch, sound, taste, or smell. So they can be in various types. As told you earlier, they can be in the various forms, and then they differ according to their nature too. So in other words, they can belong to one or more sensory systems. As per the nature of the information, you can use the different types of mnemonics and different mnemonics, so that it becomes easy for you to retain that information, and finally you can correct or recall that. The next characteristics is the mnemonics helps in organizing the information in the required order. So that's a very important one. We face this problem more often that we sometimes remember the information. But if you are asked to recall that information in the sequence or in the order which has been shown to you, that becomes a little bit of difficult. And my dear friends, mnemonics helps in that. So what a wonderful technique or device mnemonics are. Now comes the methods of mnemonics. So mnemonics can be devised using several methods. So what are they? First method is the method of loci. Loci means loci. I said we'll be discussing. Okay, when this method comes in the next slide, I'll define the meaning too. So first, let us know what are the methods. The second method is the peg word system. The third one is the keyword method, and the fourth one is the organizational schemes, and the fifth method is the acronym and the acrostics. So dear friends, these are the 5 methods we'll be discussing. These methods are using these methods we can use or we can devise various mnemonics. Now let us start with the first one, that is the method of loci. So loci is the, my dear friends, plural of locus, which means places. So in this method, the material to be remembered is visualized on familiar places or landmarks. Suppose you want to remember some material, you want to revise, memorize some academic material, or this method itself, method of loci too. So what you do is you just memorize or anchor this material with some your visual familiar place. Suppose you say I am studying this material while sitting in the lap of the nature in my fields, where the birds are chirping, are sitting under a plant or sitting under a big tree. So that if you visualize in that way, so in that case, that image or that location has anchored with this academic material. Getting my point? When information is placed at the cornerstones of an imaginary journey, you make a path, or you just travel and you make a journey. Along that journey, you find that various you landmarks along, and you keep or anchor your this information with that landmarks or that cornerstones. So if you create a memory palace, visualize a memory palace and place the information at various locations, my dear friends, that method we generally use as a known as the method of loci. Take this example here, synapse. Synapse, he used the naps. This means taking a nap between the two part of the neurons. The space between the two neurons we call it a synapse. So how to remember the synapse? So out of that synapse you take only the two four letters naps. So that is the space between the two neurons. This is the technique or you call it a method of loci. Next comes the peg word system. In peg word system, new words or concepts are associated with list of already known words. So this is the important point here. The words which already you know, that words are to be associated or anchored with the words which you want to learn, you want to memorize. So this generally method is a very important one. And in the peg word system, already known information that is such as numbers or the alphabet is ordered with the information that is to be learned. Means that has to be anchored with that. For example, learn rhyme one sun, two po, three curry, four do. So this way you remember. If you this means you know one, you know sun. You want to remember this means the one here is the your peg word. Two po, three curry, four do. So if you create this system and with using this system you can remember the various information. For example, now if we want to remember the names of Indian famous scientists, P.C. Ray, S. Ramanujan, C.V. Raman, S.N. Bose, etc. According to their year of birth, it becomes a little bit difficult for us to remember. We can remember their names, their work, but when we want to remember according to their birth year, that becomes a little bit of difficult. Now we know with using the keyword or that is peg word system. So that in the previous slide you can just see peg word system: one sun, two poo, three curry, four dough. This is the peg word system. Now we have created this system. So we want to remember the names of these scientists according to their year of birth. So this way you can remember. Just use peg words in this way. P.C. Ray shone like sun. This means one. He is the out of these four scientists, he was the first to born. Then S. Ramanujan liked to play with poo. Man, two with poo. This means Ramanujan was second one to born after the P.C. Ray. Then comes the C.V. Raman ate full plate of curry. The curry means three. Three is anchored with the curry. So my dear friends, this way peg word system can be used to remember the various information and in the correct sequence too, in the order you want to remember that. So it's a very simple one and very important one. The point is you need to put some little bit of efforts. Then comes the keyword method. So very that keyboard itself is there in front of you. That's why I use this is other type of image mnemonics. Once keyword means keyboard. The keyword method is used to memorize the meanings of words through visualization, especially useful in learning foreign languages. So when you are learning the foreign languages, that time this keyword method comes in handy. It is the system of linking two different types of information. It's a kind of elaborative rehearsal and achieved in two steps. How can we use the keyword method? Choose a keyword that sounds like the word that is similar to the stimulus word. So first is you have to choose the word that word will act as a keyword and that must sounds like the word that is similar to the stimulus word or the word which you want to learn. This is the first step. In the second step, what we do is visualize the association in the form of an image between the keyword and the stimulus words. The first step is you have to select a keyword that the sound of that keyword is similar to the word which you want to remember. Suppose you know the English, you want to remember we'll give an example. So in the second step, we have to visualize the association in the form of an image between the word which is you already know that is keyword and the word which you want to remember that is the stimulus word. For example, if you are asked to learn a word alacrity, the English word. So you have to refer the dictionary. And this is interesting thing. What students do is generally what's happen with the students is that we just see a word and that time you understand the meaning of the sentence. But again, after some time has been passed, or another day you are reading, and the same words come to you, you forget that. You forget that meaning, and again you have to refer to the dictionary. So it becomes a little bit frustrating for you. To avoid that referring the dictionary time and again, we use this such type of mnemonics, that is the keyword system. So if you are asked to learn the word alacrity, then what you do is, you know that you are, suppose you are from the Hindi medium student or from Hindi speaking belt, you know Hindi better. So in that case, just you have to select a word that sounds just like the alacrity. So that word is the kriti. कृति. Now associate these two words by a sentence such as भगवान ने कृति को जोशीला व सुंदर बनाया है. This way you could remember the Hindi sentence better. Now the meaning of alacrity is in Hindi जोशीला व सुंदर. So in English the meaning is the liveliness and eagerness. Alacrity means the God made the kriti liveliness and eagerness girl. The girl with the characteristics of liveliness, eagerness. So this way, this is a simple example. You can remember, you can retain the information for a longer period. Means you to select a word from the language you are familiar with, and that word must sound similar to the word which you want to learn. After that, you associate with both these words and visualize the association between that and make a beautiful sentence out of that. And this way you can remember. Now you can remember the meaning of alacrity as the liveliness and eagerness. So dear friends, this was the keyword method. Next comes the organizational schemes. In this scheme, the information is organized into semantic categories which are then used cues for the recall. Means we have to categorize the information as per their semantic properties. So chunking is one of the best examples of organizational schemes. You know, chunking we use in a short-term memory to remember more information, that is information more than the 7 plus minus 2. That is information if you want to remember more than 9 items, you use the chunking method. So this is best technique or the example of the organizational schemes mnemonics. To learn the unrelated information organized into familiar categories. How we do that? For example, if you are required to remember these words, fonts, mango, pen, eraser, ocean, laddu, bread, river, and sharpness. What you do is, it becomes a little bit difficult for you to remember all the words. So using mnemonics, what you do, you just organize or categorize these words according to their conceptual formation. That is stationery. Under stationery, you will find pen, eraser, and sharpener. Then comes the eatables, mango, laddu, and bread, and the water bodies, that is river, pond, and ocean. This way, we can use this organizational schemes mnemonics method to categorize the information as per their semantic category. And the dear friend, the last one is the acronym and the acrostic. So acronym is one word formed from the first letters of a phrase of a group of words such as Noida. You know the Noida? The full form of Noida is New Okla Industrial Development Authority. And you know what Okla means? Okla is Old Canal Housing and Land Authority. Interesting, isn't it? So if you want to remember the full form of Noida, it will be New Old Canal Housing and Land Authority, Industrial Development Authority. So it's a very interesting one. So Noida, and now just come to the Greater Noida. It's a very beautiful place just near to the capital of India, that is New Delhi. So this way we can remember various things, various information using the acronyms, which I told you with GOR also. Acrostic is forming phrase or sentence from the first letter of a word. So from the first letter, you take a word, full word, and from the each letter you form the phrases. For example, the Bharat. The other name of India is Bharat, Bhav, Rag, and Tal. That is affect, tune, and rhythm. And if you go for the acrostic, other one is the mother. mother indicates magical, M for magical, O for outstanding, beauty, T for tremendous, teacher, H for helpful, E for extraordinary, and R for the reliable and rich with love. So this way, these are the acrostics. Acrostics, the forming phrase or sentence or a word from the each letter of the word, or that is the this way we call it. We can create the acronym and the acrostics, and we can remember the information for longer period of time. So last one will be discussing the what are the uses of mnemonics. This I told you, mnemonics are found to be helpful in improving your academic achievements because you can memorize, you can learn, you can remember your academic information using these mnemonics. That helps you in retaining and assisting your or recalling your memory. The second use is used as a teaching aids in classroom, as my mathematics teacher told us the first sentence, Pandit, Badri, Prasad, Bole, to remember the trigonometric functions. That can be used as a teaching aids. Then comes the it can be used for students who face the learning disability, those who have a learning problems. The mnemonics can be used, images can be used, sounds can be used, so that that information can be anchored with that these such as mnemonics, and the students with the learning disability can improve their learning capacity and they can live a quality life. Then comes the it helps in the improving memory. You already know that it's a memory aid or memory assistant, and it can be helpful in learning the foreign languages. That's a very important one. If you want to learn the foreign language, you can utilize the mnemonics. So, dear friends, we remember we studied to the mnemonics, and the sixth use is the devising the learning strategies. How to learn something, so that strategies can be helpful in learning your academic material and the various things. Now, dear friends, these are my references. Today we studied the mnemonics, how to pronounce this word, what is the meaning of mnemonics, and finally we studied the definition, the methods, the characteristics of mnemonics, the introductory part of mnemonics, then what are the six methods of mnemonics, then the uses of the mnemonics. So these are my references, and you can refer them for studying and improving your memory. My dear friends, one important thing, the images which I use in my videos also acts as a visual mnemonics for you. Next video will be problem solving and introduction. So every step of our life we face the problems. So how to solve them, or what are that? So we'll be discussing everything in our next video. So by the time, my dear friends, if you like this video, share with your friends. But if you say something, if you dislike it, share with me, and you can share how using the comment box. You can you write your ideas, your comments using my comment box, as well as you can email me at varmasujit@yahoo.com. My dear friends, I always appreciate your comments. Once again, thank you for watching this video.